All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Meralco Power Up Live, empowering business growth. As you may all know by now, Power Up Live is a webinar series which aims to empower businesses with power demand below 500 kilowatts through energy services and solutions. My name is Kevin La Peña, and I will be your host for this afternoon's program. Okay, so for today's session, our speakers will be talking about the following topics. So please take note because something might be of your interest as we progress through this afternoon's program. Meralco Biz Services and Solutions, Power Supply Outlook, Obligations of Designated Establishments under the EEC Act, and energy efficiency services that can help customers comply with the law. Rest assured that you can always count on Meralco and its partners like the Department of Energy and MServe, who will be joining us later today to help you operate more efficiently. So we hope you will listen attentively and participate in the discussions later with our panel of experts. But before we proceed with today's presentations, I just want to check in on how you guys are doing so far. So with that, may I please invite everybody to please click on the reactions tab at the bottom of your screen and select the emoji that best represents how you are feeling this afternoon. All right, there you go. I can already see a handful of thumbs up, heart emojis floating around. You can click these emojis at any point during the course of this webinar so we can get a feel of how more or less you feel about the presentations that we're going to be showing you guys later this afternoon. So thank you, everybody, for all the heart reacts, the thumbs up, tapos may mga celebratory emojis pa. Thank you very much for that. We hope that you will stay tuned and remain engaged throughout the webinar. But before we move on with our program, we'd like to remind everybody to please find a good spot where your internet signal is very strong, because we wouldn't want you to miss out on the interesting discussions and exciting games later on this afternoon. And at the same time, if you have any comments or questions about the presentations, please feel free to go ahead and type them in the Q&A tab, which you can find at the bottom of your screens as well, so we can address these during our panel discussion later in the program. Should you have any account-related concerns, you may send your message through the link that we will be sending into the chat box right now. Okay, and as always, to add fun to our Power Up Live session, we're going to be playing some games later. So just make sure to listen attentively so that you can answer the questions at the end of each presentation. So something to look forward to as well. And our lucky winners will be receiving very special prizes, care of Meralco, which we're going to be announcing toward the end of the program. Okay, and with that, let's get this webinar officially started. Why don't we? So to formally welcome everybody to today's Meralco Power Up Live webinar and talk about the energy services and solutions being offered by Meralco Biz, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the Assistant Vice President and Head of Meralco Biz. A virtual round of applause for Miss Joy P. Mendoza.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for the kind introduction. Good afternoon to everyone. But before we start, I'd like to thank the following for always being gracious in sharing their time and expertise. Director Irma Exconde from the Electric Power Industry Management Bureau of the Department of Energy, Director Patrick Aquino of the Energy Utilization Management Bureau, still from the Department of Energy, and Ms. Cecil Marvilla from MServe. And to all of you, our business customers, who are joining us right now via Zoom, maraming salamat po for sparing your time with us to today's Power Up Live. This Power Up Live is one of Meralco's most successful customer engagement programs, where we get to bring together our customers, share new product innovations, pricing programs, energy industry matters, and other information related to regulatory policies that directly impact the business of our customers. So starting off this session with Meralco's partnership programs and services that can empower your business. Meralco is segmented into three in order to manage and address the varying needs of our customers. We have our residential, micro business, and local government services that are under the care of our home and micro biz segment. These are actually the branches or the business centers that you see in your area. Meanwhile, the corporate and the national government services are under our enterprise and national government or the Meralco enterprise. These are our customers with demand requirement of more than 500 kilowatts. And for our SMEs or the small medium enterprises, just like you, with demand requirement from 5 to 499 kilowatts, you are being served by our Meralco Biz. Now, please allow me to share with you all the benefits of having that partnership and collaboration with Meralco. As your end-to-end energy solutions partner, we can help you at any stage of your business, whether you're starting to set up a new one, recovering from a crisis, or planning to expand, we will be there for you. And first on the list, we can power up your business in time for your target opening through site assessment and timely energization, just like what we did for AlphaMart and BioStar. For new businesses, in as much as you do site assessment in terms of location and target market, site assessment is very, very essential for electrical facilities to maximize savings. Choosing the right location for your business can result to cost efficiencies in the construction of your facilities and eventually shorten the processing of your application. Close collaboration with us in as early as the planning stage will result in a safe, timely, and hassle-free energization of your business. Moving on, second on our list, as your business grow and expands, your needs change also. And our services can help you improve operational efficiency, generate savings, and maximize profitability. You can avail of our power consult for free so we can assess your energy requirements. We also make sure that your current supply is matched with your ever dynamic needs of your business via our power match. Ito po ay kung tumaas man o bumaba ang inyong konsumo, mapaghahatiran ho namin kayo through our service ng Power Match. We also have our Peak Off-Peak program that offers you lower rates at night, especially to those who are into 24/7 operations. XRC and Sandland are some of our customers who are able to avail of these services. And wait, there's more. If customers would wish to go for more savings and safe interconnection via their solar panel system, we have our net metering and zero export programs. There's also another solution or auto payment arrangement that allows our customers to establish a good credit standing, thus avoiding the hassle of being inconvenienced. We are very much connected to a number of our business customers. That's why our B2B networking is highly possible. Torre del Oro and Mark Pua group of companies are just some of our customers who achieve operational efficiency through these services. And lastly, we can introduce you and leverage on the capabilities of our subsidiaries and affiliates for innovative solutions and technologies. Among these are, we have Spectrum, who can provide the solar panel system, Radius for the much needed interconnectivity via its fiber optics, MServe that specializes energy efficiency and electrical safety solutions, or even Isakai that can provide electric vehicles and charging pods. You might be interested who are these customers who have partnered with our subsidiaries and affiliates already. And to show you the list, here are just some of our customers who already partnered with our subsidiaries. We've partnered with and help a lot of our business customers just like you, and we hope to partner with you too. And these are just some of the many customers that were able to achieve their success stories through that established Meralco partnership. If you want to consult with us and learn more about our services that can help you, please do not hesitate to visit our website, email us, or call our hotline as flashed on the screen. Allow us, your Meralco Biz, to be your partner in powering a brighter tomorrow. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Thank you so much and see you later.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Joy P. Mendoza. Let's give her another virtual round of applause, everybody. Salamat sa mga applause reacts. Really appreciate you making the most out of this technology. And always a pleasure getting to hear from you, Miss Joy, to kick off all our Meralco Power Up Live events. Thank you so much about sharing all the benefits of being able to partner with Meralco. Okay, so by the way, for those of you who may want a copy of Miss Joy's presentation, a recording of this webinar will be uploaded on the Meralco website. Once the link is available, it will be shared with all of our registered attendees. Okay. Also, if you have any comments or questions on our presentations, please go ahead and type them on the Q&A tab right now, because later on we're going to be addressing them during our panel discussion. Okay. Meanwhile, it's time to play a quick trivia challenge. Ito na yung sinasabi ko kanina. We're going to be asking a question based on Miss Joy's presentation. So hopefully you guys are paying attention, because all you guys need to do is just type in the answer into the chat box below. And whoever sends in the correct answer ahead of everybody else will get to win a special prize. Okay. So listen up. Here now is our first trivia question. There it is. Name one service or program or solution that Meralco Biz can provide its customers. Go ahead and type in your answer in the chat box right now. All right, thank you very much. Ang bibilis ng mga sagot ngayon, just giving you guys a heads up, all right? This is a hint as much as I'll be giving you right now. We're looking for multiple possible answers. So from the top of your minds, feel free to type it in right now, because we're looking for the very first correct one and the official list of winners we're going to be announcing later on in the program, okay? So since napakadami na yung mga naglalagay ng mga sagot nila into the chat box, thank you very much in advance. We're going to give you a few more seconds to type your answers in. 3, 2, 1, and that is it. All right? So please pay attention, because here are the correct answers to our trivia question. Site assessment, energization, timely energization, I should say, power consult, power match, peak off peak, net metering and zero export, auto payment arrangement, and B2B networking. So if you were able to answer any of those options the quickest, you get a chance to bring home a special prize by the end of the program. I-announce po namin siya by the end of this program. All right? So something worth looking forward to as well. Okay? Now, to move on, our next speaker will be telling us more about the country's power supply outlook. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the Director of the Electric Power Industry Management Bureau of the Department of Energy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as we now welcome Director Irma C. Exconde.
To the organizer of this event, the Meralco Biz Group, and to our partners in the private sector belong to the micro, small, and medium enterprises within the Meralco franchise area, a blessed and joyful Wednesday to all of us. Sa ngalan po ni Secretary Popo Lotilla at ng buong DOE family, nagpapasalamat kami muli sa Meralco for inviting the DOE to be part of this continuing campaign to encourage more interruptible load program or ILP participants. For this afternoon, I will be providing the latest updates on the Power Outlook 2023, especially now that the electric power demand is fast increasing as we already feel the summer heat. We all know how critical for the country to ensure that there is continuous and reliable power supply at all times to sustain the economic recovery after the pandemic and to provide uninterruptible electricity services in our homes, offices, commercial establishments, and industries. The DO remains committed to our mandate, mission, and vision to improve the quality of life of the Filipinos by formulating and implementing policies and programs to ensure sustainable, stable, secure, sufficient, accessible, and reasonably priced energy. In all this, we need your support and cooperation. We have a 20-year Philippine Energy Plan which is being updated annually. This serves as the roadmap of the major plans and programs, taking into consideration the recent energy trends and developments, as well as the possible challenges in the short, medium, and long term. The latest published PEP contains the power mix targets of 35% renewable energy by 2030 and 50% by 2040. Currently, the PEP is being updated to be made consistent with the new Philippine Development Plan up to 2050. This will contain a more aggressive push for renewable energy and energy efficiency measures to attain the envisioned future energy sector that is secured, sustainable, resilient, and competitive, that enables operation of smart homes and cities and empowers consumers. In the Power Up Live webinar in November 2022, I have shown the power outlook for November 2022 up to December 2023 and mentioned that we are already preparing for the contingencies for 2023 because of the challenges being faced with the power sector, such as the depleting supply of natural gas from Malampaya, the delays in the completion of the LNG facilities that will be the source of fuel of plants that have expired gas contracts with Malampaya, the delays in the completion of transmission projects that are expected to deliver all the available capacities where they are needed, and there was also a scheduled Malampaya maintenance last February 4 to 18, 2023. On top of all this is the continued high fuel prices in the global market, particularly coal, which has the largest share both in power capacity and generation mix of about 48%. In the succeeding slide, I will be presenting the Luzon power situation and outlook for 2023. Shown on the screen is the Luzon weekly power situation and outlook in 2023 in terms of the available reserve capacity, meaning the green bars represent the remaining capacity after the demand has been met by the supply, and the horizontal lines represent the different reserve requirement. If the green bar exceeds the black line, then there is enough capacity to meet at least the contingency reserve. However, if the bar is yellow, this means that the available capacity is not enough to meet the demand and full requirement for contingency reserve. Contingency reserve is the largest clean capacity of a power plant in Luzon, which is 668 megawatts. In such case, the NGCP will issue a yellow alert notice of the possibility of the rotating brownouts. And if the available capacity falls below the red line, then there will be notice of red alert and rotating brownouts will likely to happen. Please note also that we have factored in the possible unplanned or forced outages, which is represented by the broken red bar. This is based on the average unplanned outages in each particular week for the last 4 years. This scenario assumed that the 1,200 megawatts Ilihan will not be available and the committed new power generation projects will be coming online as expected, with no transmission constraints. With these assumptions, there will be a possibility to have 14 yellow alerts from this week onwards, of which 9 yellow alerts are expected between this summer period up to June, and another 5 in the second half of the year. It is noteworthy that for the first 12 weeks of the year, we have not experienced any rotating brownouts despite all the challenges that we are facing. Even with all these good developments, we know that we cannot put our guard down since anything is possible in terms of the forced outages that may happen beyond the expected level. We are highlighting the alert notices because it is the NGCP's notice of the red alert that will trigger the distribution utilities like Meralco to activate the ILP. We are closely monitoring the demand and available capacity, so we will have an idea of the short-term possibilities. In terms of demand, the actual is fast approaching the forecast level, which started last week with the highest peak demand for the year reached to 11,292 megawatts, lower by 839 megawatts versus the forecast for the week. The demand is highly correlated to the heat index, so we're likewise closely monitoring it. We are hoping that the demand will not be higher than the forecasts in the coming days, since this may trigger for possible alert notices. In such situation, we need the ILP to be ready for possible participation. In terms of actual available capacity, which is represented by the blue solid line in the chart, it had started falling below the forecasts, which is represented by the broken line. This may be due to the inherent technical problem being experienced by some power plants when the equipment are exposed to extreme heat or temperature, thus resulting to unplanned or forced outages. If the actual demand and supply trends continue, then we may have the possibility of having more alert notices. With the possibility of a worse scenario, Following are the supply and demand contingency plans to ensure we will have continuous power supply for 2023. On the supply side, there is a need to ensure availability of power plants to run at its maximum capability. Power plants has to comply with their maintenance in accordance with the DOE-approved Grid Operations and Maintenance Program. Though forced outages are inevitable, they should be kept at minimal or within allowable level as prescribed by ERC. On the transmission, the NGCP has committed to complete the Hermosa San Jose transmission facilities to be able to deliver all the available capacities in the North Luzon to where they are needed. On the demand side, we are looking forward for more ILP participants. The DOE and ERC have already discussed enhancing the incentives for the participating customers in the ILP program. More distribution utilities are encouraged to activate their ILP. In this regard, the DOE has met with other distribution utilities with potential ILP participants. Agreements were made on the template protocol between the NGCP and the concerned distribution utilities on the communication for the implementation of ILP. For additional ILPs, directly connected customers can also join in voluntary deload and be compensated when they are called to be activated. Continuing energy efficiency and conservation program in terms of the implementation of National Energy Efficiency and Conservation Plan. For the implementation of Government Energy Management Program, the DOE has enjoined all government agencies to designate an energy efficiency and conservation officer and focal person to submit regularly electricity and fuel consumption reports, as well as report the observation of energy conservation practices. Lastly, to further push for energy savings, the DOE is proposing for the demand reduction initiative through the implementation of 4-day work week with Friday as arranged for work from home arrangement that aims to reduce electricity and fuel consumption for 1 day in a week. For this afternoon, we would like to highlight Meralco's existing program on peak off-peak or POP that encourages large users to move some of their electricity consumption from peak hours of the day to off-peak hours wherein the power rate is relatively lower. As being mentioned throughout the presentation, ILP encourages those establishments or industries with self-generating facilities to use them during times of notice of red alert, or they can opt to be deloaded with the same condition. As such, the grid will be freed up on demand, thus averting possible rotational brownout. What is encouraging is that you can recover your cost of running your gensets or when being deloaded. Let me take this opportunity also to inform you of the supply policy and market development mechanisms available to all of us, some of which have been already discussed earlier. The DOE has worked on empowering the consumers to become prosumers, meaning consumers and producers, through the issuance of the guidelines that enable the non-issuance of renewable energy contracts for RE projects intended for own use or for non-commercial uses. And through the net metering program, end users can install up to 100 kilowatt renewable energy systems to reduce their electricity bills and sell the surplus to the grid. On the customer contracting options, foremost is the Interruptible Load Program, or ILP, which is available to all distribution utilities and their customers with gensets. Green Energy Option Program, or GEOP, is a voluntary policy mechanism allowing consumers with 100 kilowatt and above demand to source their electricity supply from renewable energy suppliers. Retail competition in open access, or RCOA, is a policy that allows qualified electricity end users or contestable customers to choose their electricity supplier at an agreed contract price. Currently, a consumer is considered contestable if its demand is at least 500 kilowatt. DOE also have a policy for directly connected customer, which are the industrial bulk electricity end user, which is supplied through the grid or sub-transmission. The privilege of direct connection shall only be afforded to high-demand, energy-intensive electricity end users wherein their distribution utility cannot meet the required capacity and quality of supply. The Grid Operating and Maintenance Program, or GOMP policy, is intended to ensure grid security and reliability. It contains the optimal combination of the 3-year maintenance schedule of the power generation and transmission facilities to ensure that there is enough capacity to meet the demand and reserve requirement. The policy considered the seasonality, thus only hydropower plants are allowed to conduct maintenance during the peak quarter or period of the year. And on the distribution utility contracting, all distribution utilities are mandated to go through the competitive selection process, or CSP, in securing a power supply agreement through a transparent process as stipulated in the DOE CSP policy in order to provide the least cost power supply to their consumers. On system operations contracting, the NGCP as the system operator is also mandated to ensure grid security pursuant to the Ancillary Services or AS policy. The DOE is strictly enforcing the implementation of the AS policy to ensure that the NGCP fulfills its commitment to provide enough levels of ancillary services given the increasingly important role that reserve capacity plays in preserving the reliability and sufficiency of the power grid. And for the DOE support for renewable energy development, the Green Energy Auction Program, or GEAP, introduces greater competition among renewable energy developers and generators and assists them in mitigating market exposure and risks related to renewable projects, thus easing the effect on cost. It also facilitates economies of scale due to the aggregation of energy requirements based on the Renewable Portfolio Standards, or RPS mandates. In all this, we emphasize the need for the timely completion and operation of the transmission and distribution facilities and the need for investments and utilization of smart grid facilities as we embrace the digital era. And also, in all the power-related policies, the DOE is closely coordinating with the Energy Regulatory Commission to ensure that the policies and regulations are harmonized and will be implemented accordingly and successfully. As I end this presentation, we call for your support and cooperation to the country's energy security objective by participating in the various government initiatives. We can all be part of the solution to the power supply challenges. Maraming salamat po, and God bless.
All right, there you have it. Thank you very much, Director Ice. You guys know what to do. Virtual round of applause again. Tap those emojis on the bottom of your screens. Thank you very much, everybody. So again, just to remind you guys, if you have any questions for Director Exconde, please send them in through our Q&A tab, which you can find at the bottom of your screens, okay? So I hope you guys paid attention to a very comprehensive presentation, because right now we proceed to our very next trivia challenge lifted from Director Ice's presentation. Okay, so again, be ready to type in your answer into the chat box. Pabilisan po ito. First person to get the correct answer will be announcing the winners by the end of the program. Okay, here is our trivia question number 2. What are the off-peak hours during Mondays to Saturdays? Please go ahead and type in your answers into the chat box right now. Okay, so we are looking at yung time frame, okay? So blank, let's say 8 p.m., blank a.m., or blank a.m. to blank p.m. Either of those, I'm giving you guys hints already, but for now, I can already see so many people chiming in the correct answers. We're only looking for one time frame here. We're going to give more chances to people who haven't answered yet. 3 more seconds, everybody. 3, 2, 1, and that is it. Thank you again in advance to everybody who joined in this little game, and congratulations to our future winner na i-announce natin later on. Okay, so here is the correct answer. 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. Okay, so these are the off-peak hours during Mondays to Saturdays, 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. If you guys answered that and typed it into the chat box, who knows, baka kayo yung mananalo. Just stay tuned for our official list of winners later on in the program. Okay? So now, In proceeding with what's left for today's program, we have another very insightful presentation for all you guys. Our guest speaker will talk about the obligations of designated establishments under the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, another very warm welcome for the Director of the Energy Utilization Management Bureau of the Department of Energy. Ladies and gentlemen, Director Patrick T. Aquino.
Good day, I'm Director Patrick T. Aquino of the Energy Utilization Management Bureau of the Department of Energy. The EEC Act institutionalizes and enhances energy-efficient consumption and grants incentives to energy efficiency projects with the goal of making EEC the national way of life for all Filipinos. The EEC Act includes the promotion of efficient and judicious utilization of energy, increase in the utilization of energy efficiency and renewable energy technologies, and the delineation of responsibilities among various government agencies and private entities. To date, there are currently 30 issuances under the EEC Act. We have 17 department circulars, 6 department orders, 1 memorandum circular, and 6 Interagency Energy Efficiency and Conservation Committee or IAEECC resolutions, and 7 implementing guidelines. DEs are classified based on their total annual energy consumption as follows. Other DEs are those whose annual energy consumption is at least 100,000 kilowatt-hour equivalent but less than 500,000 kilowatt-hour equivalent. Type 1 DEs whose annual energy consumption ranges from 500,000 to 4 million kilowatt-hour equivalent, and Type 2 DEs whose annual energy consumption is more than 4 million kilowatt-hour equivalent. Memorandum Circular Number MC 2020-05-001 requires all DEs to do the submission of their annual energy efficiency and conservation reports and annual energy utilization reports through the DOE DE online submission link, which can be accessible via de.doe.gov.ph. The submission deadline for the period is every April 15 of the following year. DEs are also obligated to undergo an annual energy audit once every 3 years and employ certified energy conservation officers for Type 1 and certified energy managers for Type 2. On the energy audit requirement, please note that pursuant to the EEC Act and its implementing rules and regulations as well as other related issuances, only DOE certified energy auditors and energy service companies or ESCOs are authorized to conduct an energy audit and whose energy audit report shall be considered as compliant with MC 2020-05-001. The list of DOE certified energy auditors and DOE recognized ESCOs are available at the DOE website and accessible via the QR code flashed on the screen. On November 24, 2022, the DOE issued the Advisory on the Energy Audit Guidelines for DEs, which reiterates the full reportorial compliance to the provisions of MC 2020-05-001 and DC 2022-03-006. The advisory also clarifies the key compliance requirements of DEs under existing issuances. On the conduct of energy audit, pursuant to Item 3.6 of MC 2020-05-001, all Type 1 and Type 2 DEs shall conduct an energy audit once every 3 years by engaging a DOE certified energy auditor or ESCO and submit the energy audit report to the DOE upon the completion. The levels of energy audit shall be based on the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers or ASHRAE standard. On the level of energy audit, the DOE allowed Level 1 audit for compliance during the first-time reporting of all DEs. However, the DOE is enjoining the DEs to submit a Level 2 energy audit for future compliances. All energy audit reports shall have assessments accompanied by audit evidence, identified and acceptable energy efficiency programs for continual improvement. On the signatory of the energy audit report, the energy audit report shall include the following signatories: prepared by the DOE Certified Energy Auditor or ESCO, reviewed by the Certified Energy Manager or Certified Energy Conservation Officer, and noted/approved by the head of the DE who has the authority to accept the energy audit report. On the extension of the energy audit report submission, the extension of the energy audit report submission deadline was until December 31, 2022. On the other hand, all requests for an extension on the submission of the energy audit reports shall formally be requested to the DOE with the attached justification. This is subject to the evaluation and approval of the DOE. On the submission of the energy audit report, the Certified Energy Manager or Certified Energy Conservation of the DE shall submit the energy audit report to the DOE. To recap, Type 1 and Type 2 DEs are required to submit an annual energy report for the 3-year period of 2019 to 2022. Note, another energy report will be required for submission for the 3-year period of 2023 to 2025. Compliant energy audit report submissions are those conducted by a DOE Certified Energy Auditor or ESCO. For 2019 to 2023 period, DOE will accept Level 1 energy audit conforming to ASHRAE. For 2023 to 2025, Level 2 energy audit will be required. Energy audit reports made by in-house DOE certified energy auditors of the DEs are accepted, but must be coursed through a DOE registered or certified ESCO.
This concludes the updates on the implementation of the EEC Act. Once again, I'm Director Patrick Aquino of the Energy Utilization Management Bureau from the Department of Energy. Before I end, I would like to invite everyone to visit our social media pages flashed on the screen. Lastly, let's do our part to adopt EEC as our national way of life. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Director Patrick Aquino. So we actually have one more speaker that we're going to be hearing from, but before we get to that, we have one more trivia question for all you guys. So I hope you were paying attention to Director Aquino's presentation because this question medyo precise yung kailangan nating sagot dito. Okay, so I hope you guys were paying attention because right now we just jump over to our trivia question number 3. Pay attention, everybody. When is the deadline to submit the Energy Efficiency and Conservation, or the EEC reports? Once again, when is the deadline to submit the Energy Efficiency and Conservation, or the EEC reports? All right, I don't need to tell you guys to type your answers into the chat box because so many people are already typing in the correct answers from what I see. We're really happy to hear na nakikinig kayo sa mga presentations natin. Well, that will not go unnoticed because we will give a very special prize to the quickest person who typed in the correct answer into the chat box. So since medyo loaded na yung chat box ngayon, I'm going to give you last 3 seconds. Type in your answers. 3, 2, 1, and that is it. Thank you again to everybody who joined in this game. Congratulations in advance to our winner, which we will be announcing later on in the program. So before we proceed, ito na, yung correct answer that we're looking for. The correct answer is April 15, 2023. Congratulations to everybody who got it right. Thank you again for paying attention to Director Patrick Aquino's presentation. Please stay tuned as our trivia winners will be announced before the end of this afternoon's program. All right, so now picking up from where we left off, our last speaker for this afternoon will be sharing with us how we can help you comply with the EEC Act. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the Vice President and the head of the Energy Efficiency Group of MServ, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Cecil G. Marvilla.
Good afternoon. Thank you for attending this webinar. And this afternoon, I'll take you through a few slides to show you how MServ can help you on your energy efficiency journey. Okay. So MServ, on the next slide, you will see that we are a fully owned subsidiary of Meralco, and we are a certified ESCO, and we can help you with all of the obligations of RA 11285. On the next slide, you'll see what we can do for you. We are, our core specialty is energy, of course, but we've ventured into indoor air quality, safety and auxiliaries, O&M, and automation, which is a new service line for the company. So we are a pioneer of being enablers for RA 11285 on the next slide. And we were one of the first accredited and certified ESCOs in the country. And we offer, we can be your enabler for sustainability, compliance with the law, and of course, cost efficiency. So how do we make your systems more energy efficient? On the next slide. And then on the next slide, you can engage with us from the very beginning. So as Director Patrick said, with your submission on April 15, 2023, you should have already also complied with the audit, the energy audit that was due last December. So if you haven't booked an audit yet, or you have not ever submitted an energy audit to the DOE, you can request for an extension and we will guide you through that process. So don't panic ahead. You can still call your relationship manager and allow us to explain to you the process of design of the solution, the energy efficiency solution, procure the solution for you, build it and monitor it using IoT devices, and of course, maintain it as well as finance it if needed. So on the next slide, you'll see some solutions. First off, your cooling system or your HVAC system is the one where that delivers the most savings because it's about 60% of total building load. So you might want to look at, on the next slide are some examples of solutions that you can look at. First is oil-free magnetic chillers, which deliver from anywhere from 20 to 50% efficiency because of its multi-compressor setup. Another solution are VFD systems, district cooling systems. Of course, if you have a smaller facility, you might want to look at inverter systems and, of course, solar-assisted air conditioning. So that will give you about 20 to 50% savings, depending on the type of solution that you employ. If you also want to look at your lighting system, there are also options for you. So on the next slide, you will see some, and on the next slide, you'll see some examples of what you can do. First, of course, LED is a no-brainer. It's the quickest to employ. And it typically, your lighting system is typically about 16% of your total building load. So you might want to take a look at this as well. So if you already have LED lighting, you might want to hook it up to a smart dashboard so that you can actually further optimize the use of power for your lighting system. And then after, if you've already done the audit, the next step that we typically recommend on the next slide is to employ an EMS or an energy management system. What is it? So it's a dashboard. It's a software that we can install for you that will actually turn your energy audit into visualized data that you can act on. So on the next slide, we'll show you what you can connect to this EMS. Of course, you need devices to hook up to the system so that you can visualize the consumption of the different subsystems within your facility. So you can also hook up, aside from your power meters, you can hook up your CCTVs, your water or flow meters, weather sensors, indoor air quality sensors, environmental sensors, even your lighting system, your elevators, of course, your HVAC, and gensets, all in one pane of glass. And this is a cloud-based system, so you can look at it from any device, whether it's on your phone, your laptop, or your tablet. And it's also remote, so you can actually monitor all of your branches all over the country if you have a multi-branch network. So what does it look like? On the next slide, you'll see a graphical representation of a typical dashboard. It can integrate different systems in one pane of glass, as I said, and you can have 24/7 situational awareness of your whole branch network. And it also has machine learning and AI. So later on, with data over time, you can actually train it for better optimization of your system. It can also give you actionable insights and cost reduction by giving you the right insights into your facility. So these are just some of the solutions that we can employ for you. You can reach out to any relationship manager so that you can further learn about the other energy efficiency solutions that we can use for your facility. So just an example of the solutions that we've done for other companies. So on the next slide. For NLEX, we did their LED lighting replacement for the highway and reduced their bill by 63%. So that's an annual savings of 14 million. Another example on the next slide is Meralco. We did a lighting and HVAC efficiency audit for all the business centers, and we changed the lights and the aircon units, delivering annual savings of 60 million. Another example on the next slide is MDC Citygate development. This is at the corner of Ayala and Buendia. So we did the EPC of their powerhouse, but designed it in such a way that we were able to reduce 20% on their overall powerhouse cost, and we were able to reduce the capacity from 20.5 to 16.5 MVA. One more example on the next slide is Insular Life. As I said, chillers and cooling systems are the most important to look at. So at Insular, we did the chiller plant upgrade and used a magnetic chiller, and it's delivered about 60% reduction in power consumption or 2 million in savings per month. So this has been online for the last 4 years. And another chiller example on the next slide is Meralco. In one of the buildings within the Meralco compound, we did another chiller upgrade with the magnetic chiller, and this delivered 7.2 million pesos per year in reduction in savings. So again, on the next slide, Robinson's Malls, we also did chiller plant upgrades for 10 of their malls, and it delivered about 1.1 million in monthly savings. Plus, with the addition of a chiller management system, this is similar to the EMS, we further reduced consumption by 15% by optimizing the operations of Robinson's Place Magnolia's chiller plant. And lastly, Republic Cement. You can also improve power factor with MServe. And for Republic, we did that and avoided penalties and allowed them to save about 6.5 million pesos per year. So I think that's the last. All of these companies have started their energy efficiency journey. And we hope you reach out to your relationship manager so that we can also be your partner for your own journey. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Cessa. Let's give her another virtual round of applause, everybody. Thank you very much. Okay. So again, as you already might know, another trivia question is in store based on Ms. Cessa's presentation. So again, I hope you guys are paying attention because here we go to our last trivia question for this afternoon. Pay attention, everybody. Here is our next question. Can you give us one solution that can make your system energy efficient? Okay, so we're looking for 3 possible answers here. Give us one solution amongst those 3 that can make your system energy efficient. Please go ahead and type in your answers right now. Thank you again to everybody who is currently answering via our chat box. May mga correct answers na po ako na nakikita, but we're still going to give a chance to the people who might not have been able to type in their answers yet. Few more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and that is it. Thank you again to all you guys for typing in your answers. Congratulations in advance to our winners, which we will be announcing towards the end of this afternoon's program. So without further ado, here are the 3 possible answers that we are looking for. Here you go. HVAC system optimization, lighting optimization, or energy management system. So if you answered any of these possible answers, congratulations in advance. Baka kayo na po ang mananalo mamaya, which we will be announcing at the end of the program. All right? And with that, friends, I believe our attendees have already posted some comments and questions directed to our speakers. So with that, this now brings us to our panel discussion for this afternoon. So with that, let's call back our speakers, Ms. Joy, Director Ice, Director Patrick, and Ms. Cecil. Please join us right now on screen. Hello again, everybody. Thank you all so much for taking the time to join us this afternoon, as well as sharing your very insightful presentations. From the looks of it, nakinig talaga yung mga attendees natin. So I'm pretty sure they have so many questions that they'd like to send towards you guys, which now brings me to what we're going to be doing here. Okay, so I have some questions already set up based on what was sent in by our attendees. Tapos yung mga questions na to are directed to each of you already. But by all means, if any of you have anything to add to these questions, feel free to chime in at any point during discussion. Okay? All right, so now let's get started with our panel discussion. Very first question, aptly so, goes to you, Ms. Joy. Our attendee is asking, how do I avail of the free power consult from Meralco Biz?
It's very easy. Just reach us out through our hotline 16210 or email us via biz@meralco.com.ph. Just articulate your requirement and readily we will acknowledge your request, and someone from the team will be reaching out to you and walk you through on what would be the next process would be in terms of power consult. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Joy. Next question sa inyo po, Director Ice. At least to a siguro subconscious level, sana guminaw yung mga attendees ngayon kasi for the past few days, napakainit no? Would you agree? Okay, I think she does. But now we move on to our question for you, Director Ice. Is the DOE considering other sources of energy to augment the limited supply?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the question. Definitely. Well, one of the objective also of the Department of Energy is to have more diversified sources of energy. And you are all aware that, as I mentioned in the presentation, we are aggressively pushing for more renewable energy sources. So there are a lot of them. And in tandem with that, we are also encouraging more energy storage systems. So we'll make the most of the variability of the renewable energy. So to have a more stable supply of variable renewable energy, then energy storage may be a way of having this be more responsive to the needs of our distribution utilities and customers. And of course, we have liquefied natural gas. We have 2 that will be coming in this year. So we have the San Miguel LNG power plant, and of course the first gen power plants. So definitely we are promoting the different possible sources of energy and even studying more. Like for example, the hydrogen, the ammonia, so the other future energy sources of energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ice. Okay, I see some people typing in some questions in the chat box, reminding you guys, if you want to contribute or to add to the questions that we can discuss during this whole panel sit down, I hope you can use the Q&A tab, which you can find at the bottom of your screen. We use this so we can filter out all, or we can sift through all the questions that you'll be sending para mag-discuss natin during this portion of the program. Okay? Next question goes to you, Director Patrick. Thank you again for joining us here tonight, this afternoon. Our business has multiple branches and offices. Do we need an energy officer per location?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Actually, we've given guidance on this. Right now, you can have one handling all of it. The only concern that we've given in our guidance is that your certified energy manager or certified energy conservation officer should be able to upload and do the functions indicated under the EEC Act. So to repeat, yes, your certified energy manager or certified energy conservation officer can handle multiple branches for you. So yun ang there's no additional guidance yet if we are going to restrict it on a per facility. Right now, for the past 3 years, we're allowing one to handle multiple. Thank you for the question.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much, Director Patrick. Really nice to know. Very efficient in that manner, no? Okay, now, next question. Sa inyo naman po ito, Ms. Cecil. All right. Why should we choose MServe over other service providers?
Okay, because we are in the power business and we know power. So energy consumption is something that we are very passionate about. So when we do the audit, it's easier for coordination with the utility. Plus, we know how to get you the savings that you need for energy efficiency.
Okay, very well put. Thank you very much, Ms. Cecil. Now, next question, we go full circle back to you, Ms. Joy. Can Meralco Biz provide energy assessment and advice on how we can save energy costs for our company?
Definitely, Kevin. Thank you so much for the question. Again, just like the first question, just let us know of your requirement. And if that requirement pertains to energy efficiency measure, the first thing that we will do is get in touch with you. And then number 2, we'll get to understand your current bill and bash it with your existing operations. We will review and provide you with recommendation as to what are still the other areas that we can improve. So we will start from there. Just let us know. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Ms. Joy. Okay, reminding everybody again, if you want to ask questions to any of our very esteemed set of panelists, type nyo lang po in the Q&A tab, which you can find at the bottom of your screens. We are sifting through all your questions right now. Hopefully, we'll try our best to be able to address everything that you're going to be sending to us. Okay? Next question, back to you, Director Ice. What efforts are being done by the DOE to help bring down the cost of power?
Okay, yeah, that's the usual question and difficult to answer actually. Actually, bringing down the cost, actually, what we are saying is that it's actually relative. The cost of it is, it's more of affordability. So, for bringing down the cost, actually, it depends on the mix of power supply of the distribution utilities being supplied to our consumers. So what we encourage actually is the competitive selection process. That to be able to, for the distribution utilities to have a mix of power supply that will have the least cost for all the consumers. So right now, we know, as I mentioned in my presentation, that coal or fossil fuel, even oil, are really very high as compared to the other resources, other energy resources. So we are actually that's why we are promoting aggressively the renewable energy. So that's where we are, what we are doing right now. And together with, of course, the challenge of having renewable energy is variability, especially those which are easy to put up, like solar or wind. So there's the energy storage system. And also we promote actually efficiency in the operations. Like for example, minimize system loss for the distribution utilities. And of course, even at the consumer level, actually, they can actually contribute to be able to bring down the cost of electricity by using, like for example, your program, but the peak of peak, actually, if they use it during off-peak hours, they will have lower cost of peso per kilowatt hour, right? So I think there are a lot of options for our consumers to be able to bring down their cost of power. Thank you.
Director Ice, thank you very much for addressing that question. I think you were already anticipating someone to ask that question. So at least we have that out of the way already. But if any of you guys have any follow-up to that questions, feel free. I-type nyo lang sa Q&A tab below. Okay? Next question goes back to you, Director Patrick. What if our business doesn't comply with a law? Are there penalties in place for violators?
Well, the law has penalties. Let's just start off with that. But will we be imposing them at this point in time? You can quote me that our goal is compliance, not the imposition of penalties. We are still at that point in time. But recognizing that we are 3 years on this journey on having energy efficiency and conservation legislation in place, the DOE is seriously considering activating those penalties if there are still laggards who could not embrace the wonderfulness of the sustainability journey. So the answer right now, our regime is for compliance. We are not in the business of imposing penalties, but the DOE of course reserves the right to go into those penalties if we see that there's a need for it. If you ask me personally at this point in time, I don't see the need for it, but we've been signaling that we will be activating it because there are still, majority are complying, but there are still those, people and individuals that we may need to use the stick on those individuals. But again, our goal is compliance, not the imposition of penalties. Thank you for the question.
Thank you as well, Director Patrick. Very interesting take on it. Really, really appreciate you sharing that. Okay, next question. Sa inyo na naman po, Ms. Cecil. I think you were able to touch on this during your presentation earlier, but again, wouldn't hurt to reiterate to everybody watching now kasi very vital information po ito. How can we reach MServe if we want to know more about your services?
Okay, great question. So first off, you will have your relationship managers from the biz category. So just reach out to them. They will hook us up with you, and we can meet and know all about your requirements. Or you can also reach us through our website. Just hit contact us or email us at info@meralcoenergy.net.ph. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Ms. Cecil. Really appreciate you sharing that again with everybody here. Okay, next question, and I apologize again in advance, Director Patrick, kasi baka medyo nabababad na kayo with the Q&A portion here. But someone wants to ask you again, how do we certify the energy officers or managers from our company?
Well, the process, thank you for the question. That's the purpose of this webinar, diba? We have to clarify all of these lingering questions. So I've outlined it in the AVP presentation. For more information, I think I'll ask my team to key in the link. There was a QR code also presented, but the certification process is already outlined in the website. So there's a pathway for you. If you've not undergone the recognition training institution, the certification, getting the training, we have a pathway that you just submit the experience and documentation. We will give you an initial certification valid for 3 years. And if you believe you are qualified for that, you just submit the necessary documents to us in writing formally, and then we'll act on those. The timeline would be, I think, at most 7 days, you'll get a response from us. So again, visit our website. We'll send you the link. The certification process is outlined there. Thank you.
Thank you again, Director Patrick. Okay, moving on to our next question. Back to you po, Ms. Joy. Can Spectrum assist with local government permits for on-grid solar power installation?
That should be a yes, provided that all needed documentary requirements or the prerequisites are completed. But for a more comprehensive feedback, we can definitely refer you to Spectrum. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Ms. Joy. Okay, so for our future questions, if in case you weren't able to catch the question that I'm reading out, just let me know para maulit ko po, especially for everybody that might want to hear the question a little more clearly. Okay, so there are a lot more questions that we're going to go through. Next question, back to you again, Director Patrick. Are there enough CEAs or ESCOs to audit all DES in time for the DOE deadline?
I think when we came out with the advisory, and with all of the mechanisms to get those EE professionals on board, we are of the belief that there are sufficient numbers based on the current classifications and requirements. We do have enough. I think what's proving to be challenging for our designated establishments and DEs is that they did not get to do or plan ahead on the requirements. I just have to, if you will let me, I'll take this opportunity to stress that under the EEC Act itself, it speaks of the 3-year requirement for energy audit. It tells us it's once every 3 years. So the law took effect in 2019. So the reason why there's a glut right now for the energy audit is everybody's trying to catch up on that cycle. Parang they forgot to read the law, but the requirement has always been there. So if we were able to properly manage the timing and getting the audits on the proper sequencing, for example, the challenges encountered by our designated establishments in securing an energy audit at this point in time would not have been a contributing factor to some of their challenges. But the DOE is mindful of all of this. We are reading through your emails, we're reading through your written communication, and apart from the advisories that have come out, do expect us to make some further refinements on how we implement this particular provision, taking into consideration all of these challenges that I've mentioned. Ulitin ko po, the DOE is mindful of the challenges, and we are working on a solution that satisfies the existing situation and future-proofing it in the process. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Director Patrick. I really appreciate the very thorough response. I'm sure dami insights na nakuha ng mga attendees natin. So if you guys have any follow-ups to that, again, I'm pretty sure Director Patrick Aquino will be more than happy to address all your concerns and questions as well. Okay, next question back to you, Ms. Cecil. We are generating 700 to 800 kilowatts per year. Do we need to appoint an EM?
No, EMs are for type 2. That's 500,000. Sorry, type 2s, 4 EMs. And for 7 to 800, they're not even a DE. So the others category is, tama ba, Director Patrick, 100 to 499. So Director Patrick is our expert there. So type 1 is 500,000 to 4 million, and type 2 is 4 million and above. So the SECO is for type others in type 1, and the EM is for type 2.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Cecil. Oh, ito na, very quick turnaround. Director Patrick, we have another question immediately for you again. For other DEs, 100,000 to 499,999 kilowatts, what reports are required to be submitted and where and how to submit?
Okay, right now, there's no reportorial requirement for other designated establishments based on the existing annual energy consumption requirements. So to be clear, wala. But we're encouraging you to have that energy efficiency journey, put in those necessary mechanisms in place, like adopting an energy management system in your organization, because ulitin natin, energy efficiency should not be an obligation. It's actually part of our sustainability energy transition journey. The legislation just came in to provide for the structure, but the impetus of why we're doing this energy efficiency is for the benefit. Ulitin ko, when we're more efficient, we get to save. When we save, we don't consume that much. And if you are an environmental advocate and you want renewable energy, the more efficient we are in how we consume, the greater the chance that all of the RE that we are producing meets our requirements. So, but since you have volunteered that you are interested, I will also take this opportunity to inform everyone that in this year, 2023, we are in the process of doing a revision of the requirements, meaning we are most likely going to bring down the annual energy consumption requirements, so that I think the question for Ms. Cecil and the last question I answered, mahahagip na po kayo. In short, you may be falling under type 1 if we're able to get it through the public consultation process, na you'll be covered as a type 1 DE in the next cycle, meaning compliance period for 2023 for submission on April 15, 2024. Thank you.
Thank you again, Director Patrick. Appreciate that. Next question back to you, Ms. Cecil. Must the designated ECO be a graduate of engineering? And should he or she be in-house?
Doesn't have to be in-house, of course. All ESCOs can be your energy conservation officer, but they can also be in-house and requires 1 year for ECOs and 2 years for EMs, experience handling the same type of facility.
Okay, Ms. Cecil, thank you very much. Reminding you guys again, for those who still want to send in some questions, we still have time to address each of them. So please feel free, kapag may naisip na kayo bigla, type in to the Q&A tab below. We'll try our best to include them in our discussion right now. Okay, next question back to you, Director Patrick. I'm not entirely sure if you were able to touch on this earlier, but just in case we need a refresher, is there an extension to the April 15 deadline?
Okay, the deadline, thank you for the question, Kevin. I did not touch on it. I'm not touching anything, Renjo. But the deadline is set under the EEC Act. It's on the 15th of April. But again, our goal is compliance. I've been saying this for the past 3 years. I said it last year. I said it the year before. Our goal is for our designated establishments, our partners in this journey, to comply. What you will be seeing in the process of our public consultations on refinements to the existing issuances would be a reward for those who are complying. I'll jump the gun because it's going to be another question. So if you're not going to be imposing penalties at this point in time, so I'll defer the energy audit. I'll not submit. I think that will be if you're a mischievous mind, that is how you're going to perceive it. In the revision that I mentioned to you, that we will be doing public consultations on this year, that will be a factor. If you did not get to do your energy audit, if you have not been submitting, once that is in place, you will get penalized already. Because those are prerequisites in the submissions, if you take a look at our DE submission forms. So you are given this opportune time to comply, take advantage of it, because whether you like it or not, the requirement is set forth under the law. And ito nga, it's very hard for us to say this. It's like the vaccine. It helps you get out, return to normal. But this time, if you go into and comply with the energy efficiency, which includes renewable energy, by the way, that's what you can also do. It brings down your cost to operate, and it makes your business more competitive. So it's a difficult proposition. That's why I'm having concerns on using the stick, because this is actually good for you. That's why we have this in place. Again, please comply. The timelines are there so that we do not have to go through the penalty provisions later on. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much, Director Patrick, for that response. Now, we go back to you again, Ms. Cecil, if you wouldn't mind. Okay, so itong question na to, our attendee is asking, is the MServe training still ongoing for this year? Are you going to conduct training for a more comprehensive compliance?
We actually work with our sister company, Meralco Power Academy. So you can reach out to us in combination with any audit or any other service. We can resell MPA training seminars for certification of CEMs and SECOs. And they're also experts in energy management systems. So we can provide you with a schedule of their upcoming trainings, and you might want to take a look at that for your energy managers.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Cecil. And on that note, you touched on one of the terms that I will be including in the question. Next again, para sa inyo na naman po, Director Patrick, if a company operates two establishments that are both type 1 DEs, does the company need to employ two SECOs, one for each DE or one SECO for the company?
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, for the question. So the guidance is that, as I answered it a while back, if you have multiple facilities, you can just have one CECO or CEM. We've not yet tightened that particular requirement. That also answers a previous question if we have enough pool for the certification. At this point in time, that's what we're doing. So yes, you can just have one. It's also, let me just reiterate, the the CECO in this case may also not be in-house. You can tap in an ESCO or a third party, provided that that particular ESCO is registered or certified with the DOE, or that individual is certified energy conservation officer or energy manager, as the case may be. So that's the guidance. So ulitin ko, pwede po kahit multiple yung facilities, isa lang po yung CECO, isa lang po yung CEM. Again, pwede rin po siyang hindi in-house. You can use a third party like a energy service company, provided that they are duly registered or certified with the DOE. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Director Patrick. Okay, again, back to you, Ms. Cecil. Next question for you po. A building has a Meralco account, 1 meter. For its energy use, it's below 500,000 kilowatts. Its tenants are also all below 500,000 kilowatts. Is it correct to assume that the entire building is not a DE?
So what we do for this, first off, if it's below 500 but above 100,000, there's still a DE. That's the others DE. So that's 100 to 499. So secondly, the owner of the building usually will have a common area for all of the tenants. So typically, like in condos or office buildings, it's the KUSA consumption that we take a look at. So then if it falls above 100, then they're obligated to submit an annual report. And if it falls above 500, then they're required to do a report and an audit. So the KUSA is the one that will actually be looked at in terms of consumption to determine if they're a DE or not.
All right, thank you again, Ms. Cecil. Appreciate our response. Moving on to our next question. Back to you, Director Ice. Nice to be able to hear from you again. May we have an idea of the capacity of committed power plants in the Luzon grid to be commissioned this year? How much of these committed projects are renewable energy?
Thank you, Kevin, for the question. Actually, I will post here in the chat box the exact numbers, but based on the presentation I made earlier, the blue area, which I wasn't able to emphasize earlier, in the bar chart, those are the committed projects. So that's about, I think, a little below 1,000 megawatts. The total, but well, yeah, if I can remember it right, but I think about 200 or 300 megawatts are renewable energy. So I'll have the numbers posted in the chat box to be sure of the exact numbers. Thank you.
Director Ice, thank you very much. Okay, waiting on for more questions to be sent here to us. So with that, I'd like to encourage everybody again, sa mga gustong mag-follow-up questions or to those that might have questions that we weren't able to address during the entirety of our discussion or sa mga presentations ng mga speakers natin for this afternoon, feel free again to please type in to the Q&A tab, which you can find at the bottom of your screen. Okay, now another question we have here for Director Patrick again. In the absence of CECO or SECO, because we have not yet appointed or we are not yet hiring a SECO, Can the head of the company sign and submit the annual energy report to the DOE?
That's a very good question, and I will answer it in the form of our most recent advisory. The energy audit submissions require you to have a certified energy conservation officer. So the answer is no, you have to have one. As I've outlined earlier, we provided the pathway for compliance. It doesn't necessarily have to be in-house. You can use a third party, but the way it is implemented at this point in time, and even in the law itself, there is a need that there is a CECO, and it's up to the business sensibilities of your organization. If you will train somebody in-house, go through the certification process, for example, or tap an energy service company or a third party to do it. But it cannot be a direct submission because that's not compliant with our most recent advisory and even our Memorandum Circular MC 2020-05001. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Director Aquino. Good thing we were able to squeeze that question in. Okay, I think we have room for 2 more questions, if I'm not mistaken. So here we go. Hold on now. Let me see who's still sending in. I don't think we still have last call na lang. Here you go. Here you go for Director Ice. I apologize. Are we assured of enough supply given that Pag-asa officially announced the summer season is here already? So let me read that again for you, Director Ice. Are we assured of enough supply given that Pag-asa officially announced the summer season is already here?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that question. So based on our presentation earlier, actually, we have a very thin reserve, especially this summer months, particularly the period of May. Basically because of the demand is high, and then most of the power plants are usually go on forced outage during this season. And well, we know that even if it's there's an alert like yellow alert, it doesn't mean that there will be power interruption or rotating brownouts, but we are doing our best to be able to have all the power projects on time to be like, for example, this the LNG power plants. We are looking forward that it will be in commercial operation soon by May, and also there are several solar power projects also coming, although these are small amounts. But of course, we are also looking at the forecast that I showed earlier does not yet consider the exchanges of excess power supply from the Visayas area, wherein there are a lot of possible excess capacity, especially during the day, because of the solar power plants that are in the Visayas area. So as we are aware, Luzon, the peak is during the day, but in the Visayas, during the night. So those are not yet factored in. So we are confident that though there are yellow alerts, we'll have enough supply, at least for the demand. We'll just have a little tight on the operating reserve margin. And I think I call actually for energy efficiency for all our customers, all the customers of Meralco, to have to practice or observe energy efficiency. That's why the government actually, as I mentioned earlier, is also promoting within the government agencies all the energy efficiency measures, like the basic ones on the electric appliances not being used and be turned off, and also the air conditioning to be at 24 degrees centigrade. Thank you very much. We all need you to support us to be able to have a continuous power supply, and of course, meet the demand for this period, the coming summer months. Maraming salamat po.
All right, Director Ice, thank you so much for that very wonderful response. Okay, I can still see some people here typing in some questions into the chat box, but as much as we would want to entertain all of your questions during this portion of the program, unfortunately, during the interest of time, we have to cut it where we are right now. But not to say that you cannot continue to send in your questions even beyond this afternoon's program. People from our team will get in touch with you just to be able to address everything that you will be sending towards our way. Okay, so thank you once again to all of our very esteemed set of speakers who joined us this afternoon. But before we let you guys go, I hope you wouldn't mind sharing with us some parting words before we conclude this afternoon's program. First, perhaps shall we start with you, Ms. Joy?
All right. That's too soon, Kevin. Maghihiwa-hiwalay na tayo agad. Anyway, as they say, energy is everyone's responsibility. Well, I guess today is a manifestation of that saying. As our customers are here with us today to learn more and work on something in terms of their energy requirements. Our government, through DOE, is also here with us, empowering us with all the information that is being shared with us. And of course, your utility company is here with our programs and services to empower your business. So again, maraming salamat po to our guests, Director Patrick, Director Ice, Cecil, and to our their business customers. Maraming salamat po for this session with all of you. Please do not hesitate to reach out, and rest assured we will be there just in time when you need us. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Miss Joy. Nabitin po ba kayo sa
Oo,
sama
eh.
natin this afternoon? Don't worry, nasulit naman natin yung hapon na to. Ika nga nila, di ba? Don't be sad that it's over. Smile that it happened. Diba? May quotes
Thank
pa eh.
you.
All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Next parting words, Director Ice. Anything that you might want to share with our very valuable set of attendees this afternoon?
Yeah, thank you very much, Kevin and Miss Joy and the rest of the Meralco Biz group. So as I mentioned, maraming salamat for always keeping us in the loop for this continuing campaign, for all the programs and of the Department of Energy together with you, our partners. Well, I already mentioned earlier, let's be part of the solution for the power supply challenges. And we are all on here together. Maraming salamat po.
All right, wonderful. Up next, thank you very much, Director Ice. Director Patrick, kayo naman po. Anything you might want to share with everybody here?
Well, it has been said. Again, thank you, Meralco. Thank you for those in attendance. I'd just like to end by stressing that you have the power because energy efficiency starts with you. And the usual tips again, thermostat, 24, 25 degrees, no lower than that, please. Unplug and then shift the consumption, if possible, away from our peak demand hours of 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon during weekdays. We assure you, I will join Director Ice in reminding everyone that we have sufficient supply. The challenge is on the reserve. So ibig bong sabihin yan, the reserve can be managed if we also manage our demand. That's why, again, energy efficiency is key, and that starts with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Patrick. Very encouraging talaga whenever we get to hear from Director Patrick Aquino. Maraming salamat po. Okay, last but definitely not the least, Miss Cecil, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Kevin. And thank you, Joy, for arranging another wonderful engagement session with our customers. There's still time. As Director Patrick said, you are part of the solution and call your relationship manager na agad. There's still enough time. The DOE will not penalize naman for being late, diba, Director Patrick? So there's still time. Call us now and we will be your partner in complying with RA 11285 and your overall energy efficiency journey. So dito lang po kami. Call us na. Sige po.
All right, there you have it. Thank you once again very much to our very esteemed set of speakers for their valuable insights, as well as for sharing their time with us this afternoon. Once again, let's all give them a very warm virtual round of applause. Miss Joy, Director Ice, Director Patrick, and Miss Cecil. Thank you all so much once again. Really appreciate the time. So we hope our audience here today was able to pick up very relevant ways to make their businesses more energy efficient. And for those of you who have questions that we weren't able to address during our Q&A session, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be reaching out to you after the program, all right? Huwag kayong mag-alala. You may also encode your concerns or requests through our concerns form via the link posted in our chat box right now. Or alternatively, you may also scan the QR code, which we are now flashing on your screens. And in case you have any other power-related inquiries, you may also reach out to our biz partner managers through the channels being flashed on screen right now. So before we take this window out, feel free to take a screenshot, take a picture, very vital information for easy reference as well. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be announcing the official list of winners for the trivia challenge that we played all throughout this afternoon's program. But before we get to that, why don't we do a quick poll first, okay? Meralco Biz wants to ensure that you can reach us whenever and wherever you may need us. So while we love doing these webinars with you and for you, don't we all missing each other face-to-face? So with that, let me ask all of you here, for future Meralco Power Up events, would you still prefer to have it either online, like this webinar, on ground, where you can meet with your Meralco Biz partner managers face-to-face, or hybrid, where you will have the option to go on site while the event is being streamed live online for those who won't be able to attend physically? Why don't we launch the poll right now? There it is. I'm sure by now naka-flash na siya on screen. Feel free to answer our poll very quick, in just a matter of seconds. Tapos na po yung magiging poll ninyo. Okay? Thank you again. Now we move on to our next question. Poll format again, okay? But this time, before we proceed, ito na pala, we have live results. Most of you, surprisingly, would still prefer to have our webinars online. Oh, very, very interesting. Thank you very much. Okay, ito na pala. Next question, what is your preferred schedule for Power Up events? What day of the week? And do you prefer to hold it in the morning or afternoon? Let's launch the poll right now. So I think it would be safe to assume afternoon would be the more popular choice, and based on our live results, majority, in fact, more than 70% of you are saying you'd prefer to have it in the afternoon. Very understandable, especially since it takes more effort to get up early in the morning, okay? Thank you again, everybody, for your feedback. This will definitely help us in planning our future events. Okay, and now we are ready to announce our winners of our trivia challenge. So we won't be able to flash it on the screen, so please pay attention, okay? Congratulations, Joselito Oviedo, Janine Vicente, Gemma Corazon Madara, and Maria Chiara Ninavith Arcedera. Once again, our 4 lucky winners for this afternoon. If you hear your names out, abangan nyo lang yung pag-contact ng mga Meralco team sa inyo. Joselito Oviedo, Janine Vicente, Gemma Corazon Madarang, and Maria Chiara Ninaveth Arcedera. Congratulations to the 4 of you, and please wait for the message and personal call from our Meralco representative who will advise you on how to claim your prize. Now, before we conclude this webinar, we would highly appreciate it if you can answer a quick poll and a short survey after. We value your inputs and insights and would welcome receiving your feedback regarding your experience here at Meralco Power Up Live. Let's launch another poll right now. Okay, first question, what did you like about the Power Up event? Please select all that apply. The topics covered are relevant to my work or business. The presentations were clear, easily understood, and engaging. The speakers are knowledgeable on the topics they presented. Questions raised were responded satisfactory, and the learnings from today's session will be useful for my work or business. Real time na naman po ito, so please feel free to tick what applies to you or what is most relevant to you, or select any of those that are relevant to you. Okay, thank you again very much. Now we proceed to our next and last question for this poll. Overall, how satisfied or dissatisfied are you with Meralco Power Up event experience? very satisfied, somewhat satisfied, can't say somewhat dissatisfied, or very dissatisfied. I, for one, can speak that it's been very helpful, especially getting to hear with experts from their respective fields. But of course, we want to hear feedback from you guys. So at the end of the day, we can further improve our future events. So with that, thank you again for answering our quick poll. We also encourage all of you to answer our short survey in just a few steps. All you need to do is click on the link that we are posting into the chat box right now. And with that, you have certainly been a most cooperative audience, and it has truly been an insightful afternoon, to say the least. I hope all you guys have been enlightened by our distinguished panel of speakers. And with that, thank you very much once again for joining us this afternoon. We hope to see you again in the next edition of Meralco Power Up Live, Empowering Business Growth. I've been your host, Kevin La Peña. Stay healthy and safe, and have a pleasant day, everybody. Thank you very much.